Good evening, everyone. Chief Meteorologist James Zahara here in the Storm Track 8 Weather Center. Glad you can join us here on the News 8 Plus app. The reason that we are on is to give you, I guess you could say, a little update of what we're potentially going to be seeing as we head into tomorrow. And of course, the biggest concern is the potential for seeing some severe weather, though I think it may be really more isolated and kind of focusing more really later in the day for that to be taking place. So that's why we have our weather impact alert for later tomorrow. I'll give you more details on that in just a little bit. Right now, skies, you can see, are looking all quiet across the board. That's just the way we like it. But really all the activity that we've been seeing tonight and what we're going to be tracking as we head into tomorrow are some of those showers and thunderstorms, but mainly focused along that cold front. As that cold front interacts with some nice Gulf moisture and good amount of instability, it will fire off some more showers and thunderstorms, and that is what we're kind of worried about as far as that threat for severe weather. You can see a ton of severe thunderstorm watches are already out in a small part of Iowa, but it really extending across the Central Plains from Nebraska into parts of Kansas, panhandle of Oklahoma, as well as around Texas, okay? So some of that Gulf moisture, some of that nice instability is going to bang into that boundary as it slowly approaches from west to east and eventually lead to our shot of seeing some showers and thunderstorms. Could be a stray shower or thunderstorm really during the day, but really the focus is really heading later on in the day, especially as we get to late afternoon and early evening is when I think the coverage really starts picking up and the level of instability and the threat for severe weather slowly increases, but not a lot. I think the activity still appears to be very isolated. So we talked about the severe threat for tonight. You can see that's clearly marked in areas off to our north and west. But as we make our way into tomorrow, and this really hasn't changed really since, I believe, Sunday morning or so, showing a level 2 out of 5 risk for seeing some severe weather. Now, this is what we're talking about is in that red area. Somewhere within that red area is where we could be talking about an isolated, intense wind gust, even some hail to go with it as well. I just don't see the shear, okay, folks, or any really supercellular type of storm to produce tornadoes. I think it may be a good rush of wind that will be accompanied by some very heavy rain that we could very likely see in some of our hometowns. So that's why we're looking at this weather impact alert. Right now, the time I'm seeing is between 4 p.m., especially for hometowns just south and west of the Quad Cities, to maybe as late as 11 p.m. for our hometowns more north and east, farther north and east of the Quad Cities. The impact looks very isolated. Want to make sure I stress that. So the need you have here is to receive those warnings. That's always a good thing. Make sure you got that Storm Track 8 app ready to go. That's always reliable, especially when maybe you have some brief power outages going on and you want to see what's going on the radar, and like you're doing right here on the WQAD 8 Plus app. If you know someone that doesn't have it, this is a super tool to have, kind of what we're doing right now as we're able to really break it down in details what could eventually happen heading into tomorrow. So let's get to that future track because it has been pretty consistent in what we could potentially see going into tomorrow. This is 5 a.m. No surprise, nothing expected to go on around the area, but we are going to expect to see those temperatures begin get really warm, but also we're adding more of that humidity in the air as well. Overnight lows only dropping around 70, and then some of that humidity is going to start building in throughout the course of the day. First half of the day, not too much going on, even going in the early afternoon, but you can't rule out a stray shower or storm, kind of like we're seeing right here after lunchtime, maybe early afternoon hours, running away from the main boundary. So that's why at this point, I really don't expect to see anything like this at this time being severe. But get to 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock in this case, and you can see some activity in southeastern Iowa. If there is a place to keep an eye on for maybe a severe thunderstorm warning, it may be in southeastern Iowa, at least what I'm seeing right now, okay? After that, that may extend a little more off to the north and east. And you can see the coverage is a bit more widespread, heavier activity more on the Illinois side, and this is around 7 o'clock. We moved the clock all the way to about midnight that night, going to Wednesday morning. And at this time, we're just talking about some rain, some rumbles of thunder, but some of this rain could be quite heavy, especially as we get into early Wednesday morning between, I would say, 6:30 and about maybe 9. After that is when all that will be making its way off toward the north and east. Now, I mentioned before that this is some nice Gulf moisture. Anytime we're throwing in a forecast that's going to have showers and storms that's being used with the whole form of Gulf moisture, you're going to get some good rainfall amounts. Now, these are 4 models that you see here, and they vary just a little bit, but look at that. The least amount I find is about 3/4 of an inch. The most I can find is over 2.5 inches. So that would be a really good rainfall, especially for the farmers out there who are really looking for a good rain in their fields. I think this is what's going to do it, okay? Another question, I got a question, by the way, from someone when I did the 2:30 edition of this severe weather coverage, and they want to know what the CAPE was going to be. Okay, this is the convective potential energy from these storms, okay, that would be available. And I came up with this number at 7 p.m., 860. And if you look on the scale there, it doesn't look like a whole heck of a lot, okay? That's on the low side. So as far as storm energy is concerned, it may not produce, not enough storm energy to produce anything widespread, but certainly there could be a couple of storms out there that could eventually reach that stage where a severe thunderstorm warning may have to pop up, like I said, in form of an isolated wind gust. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. And then after this wave moves on through, it's all quiet after that, okay? Wednesday, rest of Wednesday, really all day on Thursday. By Thursday evening and that night going to Friday morning, that's when another wave comes in. Doesn't look very organized at this time. Looks very widely scattered as far as showers around here. And then things kind of cool off just a little bit, but not too much with those numbers expected right around the, mid-70s or so. Let me get trying to get the 8-day tracker up here, because you can see that once we get rid of those showers, then going into the weekend, it should be just fine. Okay, for upper 70s on Saturday and then lower 80s as we get to about Sunday. So once again, going back to the satellite picture here that's going to pop up here, I'm going to get my arrow here. And of course, there's the front that you see right there. Let me get my arrow. There we go. There's the front right here. Now, you're probably saying, well, what about these storms that are around Minneapolis, extending down to northwestern Iowa and Kansas? Could that be impacting us by early tomorrow morning? I really don't think so. And the reason why is because this broken line of showers and storms is moving away from the main lift, which is along this cold front, okay? So I really expect this activity like we see around Minneapolis to continue to make its way eastward and very likely fall apart. And then even the activity that we see that's trying to grow in northern part of Nebraska, that too may begin to fall apart. At least doesn't have the upper air support. But that's why we're going to be focusing on this cold front. So that's why we're saying that during maybe the first half of the day through the early afternoon, you can't rule out a shower or thunderstorm, okay? It really won't be until that front comes closer and closer to us that by the time we get to about maybe about 4 or 5 o'clock is when we start seeing some of that convective development take place off to our south and west around southeastern Iowa. That's where some of the cells could actually be a little bit more discrete, and that will give a chance for these storms to really grow quickly and maybe produce some of that convective activity in the form of some pretty good thunderstorms, lightning, and maybe some heavy rain, but also accompanied with that could be a good rush of wind coming down with that rain that could produce some damage. So that's kind of what we're looking at really as we head into tomorrow. What I want to do here, I'm not sure if we have it popped up here, are questions from you, okay? Troy, I could tell, Troy, you are a weather nerd, and I'm saying that in a good way, okay? Flash flooding, no, I don't believe so. I think that any heavy rain that does happen, I mean, if we're going to get any flooding, maybe some street flooding that may take place in those poor drainage areas. But I think this rain that comes in is going to allow it to get sucked up on the ground. So I think we're really good in shape in that. And yes, the cold front will pass through Middletown, Iowa, as we head into tomorrow evening or so. And you see temperatures really begin to change in a big way, going from those upper 70s that we have for tomorrow, and then 70s to even cooler 70s as we get to the end of the work week. Let's see, Brittany, when will it start? At 1 tomorrow in the afternoon or in the evening for Princeton? Well, in Princeton, no, I think in Princeton you're going to be fine during really most of the day. Like I said, there could be a stray shower or storm, but I think if that happens early afternoon, it's going to be mainly right around the river itself. I think the show for you, the storms coming in your neck of the woods, and let's get back to the future track here, really doesn't get to your area, your destination until later on in the evening. Let me see if I can get this thing going again here. This is around 7 p.m. and I think by 7 o'clock, I would say it may be impacting you. At least what we're seeing right now in our Haas model. Okay, our Haas model has been pretty consistent with these storms we've been seeing this season. And right there, that looks like a good timing for some of that activity to be rolling in your neck of the woods. Steve. Hey, Steve. How you doing, buddy? Man, I don't get you. Steve, farmer out there in Henry County and all, always wants to make sure that those farmers are not ignored. We're going to get some rain out there for those fields, that is for sure. I think I answered your question, Troy, on this one. I don't see any really bow echo or anything like that out of this, okay? But we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see. But it's not really a solid line. I think this is going to be really more of a broken line making its way in southeastern Iowa, and then it just kind of blossoms as we're seeing here after that. This is going to have some nice rain with it, but within this line, we can't rule out maybe a good wind gust ahead of the main storm itself, okay? Let's see here. And that's pretty much it that I got from you guys. I'm not surprised about the lack of questions here. Well, Aaron wants to know, how about Prophetstown? I think the same goes true for Prophetstown as well. I mean, definitely about 5 or 6. I mean, if I move this out a little bit more, probably 6 o'clock or so, if this holds together, okay? If what we're seeing here is etched in stone, I say about 6 o'clock around the Erie Prophetstown area. Okay, but like I was going to say that, here we are, we're less than 24 hours till the storms actually impact our area. So a lot of tweaks are going to be taking place, okay? Because you got to keep in mind that if we see some activity during the late morning or midday hours, it could have a bearing on the level of instability, the level of convection to work with here. So that may have a big role as far as our chance of seeing severe weather. Right now, I'm really focusing in areas south and west of the Quad Cities, but that can all change. If we bring in a lot more cloud cover and we see some of those showers maybe a bit more widespread by midday or lunchtime, then I think our chance of seeing severe weather just goes downhill after that, okay? So there are still a lot of variables that are going to be in play here, and I think we certainly will be able to really time it out even better still as we head into tomorrow, now especially by tomorrow morning. And what's going to be good is we're going to continue to do these severe weather discussions for you heading into tomorrow as well. So coming up at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, meteorologist Andrew Stusky and Peter Warner will do another severe weather discussion like I'm doing with you right here. And, taking the information, the data that we're having in the morning, really, I think it's going to pinpoint it even more so heading into tomorrow. And then I'll be doing another severe weather discussion, not only at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon, but even around 8. And I think certainly by 8 o'clock is when I'll be showing a lot of stuff on the radar and showing where, we're just getting a good rain, or we could be seeing some isolated severe stuff that may be going on as well, okay? So we have you covered, especially heading into tomorrow, and make sure that if you do have any questions, go ahead to the Facebook page, and of course, we are showing some of the questions right now. Please put your question in, and we'll try to do the best we can as far as answering those questions for you. So that is the latest that we see right now. All good this evening and overnight. Activity very isolated during most of the day until we get to the early evening hours. All this comes to an end, I would say, before sunrise or even the mid-morning hours by Wednesday. Could be seeing in many of our hometowns over an inch of rain, and that will be a nice sight to see. Dry after that, going into the rest of our work week. That's the latest from me. Thank you so much for being part of our News 8 Plus app. And once again, we'll see you tomorrow with those latest updates when it comes to our potential for severe weather. Have a great night, everyone.